Hey, this is BJU Press Grade 5 Heritage Studies. I bought the video subject, the whole video subject. I did 5 or more and I got a discount. And it's because I bought it in, I think, April from Homeworks by Precepts Consultants. So you get discounts with them certain times of the year. It's, I think, more in the springtime. You can also get discounts at homeschool conventions. But basically, it's always better to buy it as a kit, the whole subject kit, or the grade, instead of buying each thing individually. And you'll save a lot of money. So, this is it. I'm going to try to show you everything. You get the student reader. This is like their history, social studies. So, you get the reader book for the student. You get the workbook for the student. So they get asked questions from their reader. There's test and answer keys, and that's going to be something that I think download or they take online because she's doing the video course. And then when you buy the video course, you get these things in your parent portal online. So you download it. It has the teacher's edition and the answers. So this is all something you download. I paid extra. And I added the physical teacher's guide, the physical answers for the workbook, just so I can have it. So I'll just kind of go through a little here. So I'll start with the reader. And I'll do like a little flip through here. Okay, I don't know if I'm going to do like the entire flip through, but you can also go to BJU Press website and see samples of the insides of each book, and christianbook.com also has samples. So if you want to take your time and read something, you can. They also have new editions coming out for stuff, so keep an eye on that. I am aware that they had a new edition coming out. I think it was this grade. I'm pretty sure it was this subject, this grade. Sometimes their editions are like identical as far as like the words and stuff. They just change like, some pictures, and they change, a little bit here and there. But sometimes their editions that are new are like word for word. But if you go to BJU Homeschool, they might have an older edition that they're using. So people might think it's the current edition, but it might be older because their videos are older and match that book. But then when they come out with a new edition, usually I think a new video comes to follow it to match that new edition book that they do. So if you go to BJU Press, I think .com, you'll see the new editions in there, and that's because private schools buy that. So basically, if you're going to spend a lot of money on like a whole subject kit and you're like, okay, this is great because I'll use this for my other kids and all I have to do is buy a new workbook, everything else we can reuse. If you want to do that, that's fine. Just make sure you pick the edition you want, because sometimes when you're buying like your deal with the Homeworks by Precepts Consultants, like let's just say I was going to buy a couple different subjects, parent-led, I can pick the new edition. I don't have to do the one that's off the BJU Press Homeschool website. So I can pick the new edition of Heritage Studies. I can pick the regular or older edition of math that you might see on the homeschool website. You might see it on there because the videos are older, but there might still be that new edition. So I hope that makes sense. So I'm pretty sure they already have a new Heritage Studies out. Like I just got this, this past year. It's not old to me. It's no big deal. But if you just check out their website, I saw they had some new stuff coming out. It definitely kind of sucks because you feel like, oh man, like I just spent all this money and now they got a new one coming out. But you gotta break yourself out of that mindset, because it's like, it's not really old. It's almost identical. It's not a big deal. Does it do great? Does it get the point across? Yes, it does. If you buy any kind of used books, always make sure you can get a workbook to go with it. So sometimes I'll find like teacher's guides or readers in bookstores really cheap, like a fraction of what you would spend brand new. But you need to go to their website and make sure that you can find the workbook that matches that edition that you're thinking of buying. So if you're going to buy like Heritage Studies, second edition teacher's guide and second edition student reading book, make sure you go to their website and look for the second edition workbook. Unless you don't care, you might not even care about the workbook. You might just say, just read it and we move on. And that's fine too. You don't even have to do the workbook if you don't want to. But this can be affordable. You might look at it and say, oh my gosh, $65 for a teacher's guide and $35 for this and something for that and this and this and this. It's cheaper when you buy it in a kit. It's cheaper when you get it in the discount. And if you don't go that way, find the books used and just make it work. Like, I love their workbooks that go with their science and history. But if I was on a budget, I would be totally fine with buying this without any workbook. Another great one that's cheap is Masterbooks. And Masterbooks teaches similar to this. In the way they tell it, it feels like a story. It feels personal. It doesn't feel like facts. Just like, so-and-so was born in 1492. So-and-so was this. Like, Masterbooks reads similar to BJU Press. Masterbooks, I bought America's Story 1 for grade 3, but then we ended up doing BJU, so I didn't really use it. And it's just sat, but I've been like, man, I really want to go through this with Nora because it's really nice. I didn't really care too much about like the teacher's book. So instead of spending like 50 or 55 bucks, you can just spend like 25 or 30 on just the reader of America's Story and just read it and move on. And then I just saw that they are selling the audiobook for America's Story 1 and America's Story 2 with Masterbooks. So I played it in the car, and Nora's already been through 5 or 6 chapters in one day. So it's like 5.5 hours of audiobook. So if you want something that your child can just read with a narration of their book like this, Masterbooks has it. And I'm planning on buying more with them and buying the audiobook so we can just power through it, because I think that's awesome. I even sent them an email and was like, hey, can you do more of this? Like, you know, do more of these audiobooks. I want to see it, or I want to hear it. So I saw they have 1 and 2 of America's Story, but they have some other history that I'm hoping they add to it. Anyways, I'm talking a lot, I know, but the way that these books read is really nice. It is not boring. We like it. We feel like the workbook questions are very appropriate. The lessons are not too long. It's really just perfect. But if you're on a budget, you don't have to buy the workbook. You don't have to buy all these fancy things. You could literally just buy this reader and be done. So like, I go to Knoxville, Tennessee sometimes. They have a Christian bookstore there, and they have like a little homeschool section where you find new and used, predominantly used homeschool curriculum. You can find some really good deals on stuff. Some stuff, no. Some stuff, yes. Then they have McKay's bookstores in like Chattanooga and Knoxville, and they have like a whole homeschool section. You can sometimes find teacher's guides for like $1. You can sometimes find like readers for $1, $1.25. You can find, you know, their history books for the student reader for like $4, $10, $15. So you could buy the little reader. You could or could not buy the teacher's edition if you care about that. You can go on their website, buy a brand new activity book, you know, the workbook to go along with it, and there you go. You might have a small investment. When I went there one time, I actually got her grade 3 reading from BJU Press for free. They had an A and a B for the reader, and then they had a teacher's, just the answer key for the workbook. So that the teacher's workbook answer key and the reader A. I got it for free. I went on their website. I bought the workbook for like $30 or something. And then I went on eBay and I found the reader B So we had both student reader books. I bought that one for like $8. So basically my investment was $8 for one reader and the workbook that was like $30 or something, and that was it. But you try to buy a brand new one of those, you'll spend $180 or $200 on a brand new whole reading subject, but you will get the teacher's editions with it. So, to each their own. Sorry I'm talking so much. I don't know if you might just need to mute me. Anyways, I don't know if I'm going to do like an entire flip through here, but I'm just trying to give you some ideas if you're wanting to save money or get a little more information. But you can always just mute me and pause the videos if you want to see how things read. So let me see here. So I'll just read right here so you can see if you like this style. The New England colonies. Religion. The 4 New England colonies were Massachusetts, New Hampshire, Connecticut, and Rhode Island. These colonies were settled mainly by English Puritans. The Puritans wanted their colonies to be a safe place to practice their own religion. For this reason, they did not welcome people of other religions to their colonies. The Puritans carefully trained their children to worship God as they did. Parents baptized their children as babies. Baptizing an infant meant that the child was now part of a Christian community. Parents taught their children God's word and expected them to trust Christ for salvation. Older children who showed evidence of being true believers could join the church. Puritans were required to attend church on Sundays. Church was held in buildings called meeting houses. Okay, so you kind of get that idea there. And then progressivism in the cities. Many Americans could not leave the cities behind. Since the nation began, a larger and larger percentage of its population lived in the cities. They were centers of industry. Factory jobs were usually in a city. Immigrants arrived at coastal cities such as New York. They lived there in tenements or crowded apartment buildings. Many immigrants remained in the cities. So many people living in the cities created several problems. Progressives had solutions. Just one street could offer many opportunities for change. So they have Christians organized outreaches to urban areas. People worked to end drunkenness and to stop people from wasting money on alcohol. New laws ensured that milk and other foods were safe. Learn English. Immigrants were encouraged to learn English to become American. Cities introduced subways and streetcars. Many cities added parks. American socialists tried to organize workers. Cities added safer electric lighting. During the progressive era, cities worked to train police officers and firefighters. Many progressives wanted election reform. Laws were passed to ensure work safety. Progressives believed children should be going to school rather than working in factories. Voting. During the progressive era, people in urban and rural areas experienced changes in voting. Some laws expanded the number of people who could vote. Others restricted voting. New voting opportunities also came about. Voters were sometimes frustrated by state laws. Traditionally, state laws were proposed by a member of the state legislature. If enough legislators voted yes, then the bill went to the governor's office. If the governor agreed to it, the bill was law. Members of the public had little say in creating bills. If someone wanted a new law, he could write to a legislator. Otherwise, there was not much to be done. Once legislators and the governor were in office, they could not be removed until the next election. Okay, so we got that. More progressivism. Workers in America. Americans also looked to improve the workplace. Factories were often unsafe. Working hours were long. Some employers took advantage of workers. Several solutions were proposed. The American Federation of Labor and its leader, Samuel Gompers, encouraged collective bargaining. If all the people in an industry worked together, they could get their way. For example, all the machinists could agree on a fair wage. If the factories would not pay it, then no machinist would work. Samuel Gompers ran the AFL for many years. Okay, so I'm trying to just kind of read a little bit here. The year was 1940. In the United States, life was good for most people. Nearly everyone had a job and plenty of food to eat. People everywhere, bankers, factory workers, farmers, and college students talked about President Woodrow Wilson's recent election. But across the ocean in Europe, life was not so peaceful. Several nations wanted to become more powerful. They wanted to enlarge their boundaries. Often this meant taking land that other countries already owned. They wanted to have the strongest armies and navies. They were all competing with each other to make and sell the best products. The people of each nation thought that their nation was the best one in Europe. Their strong patriotic feelings for their own nation were called nationalism. Some of these people wouldn't stop at nothing to advance their native goals. Okay, so you kind of see there. How it was. A British officer sat up against the rough, muddy wall of his trench. He smoothed out the damp sheet of paper in his lap and picked up his pen. My dear children, he wrote, I cannot say how sorry I am that I will not spend Christmas with you. Albert, as the tallest, you will have to hang the holly wreath on the door. Emily, be a good girl and help your mother with the Christmas pudding. And Henry, don't eat too much cake. When you go to church to sing carols, please pray. He paused and listened to a distant crackle of gunfire. Please pray that God will bring your papa home. Love to all. He folded the letter and bowed his head. So, I think it's really good. So when they start in their second grade, third grade, fourth grade of heritage studies, they kind of further along in the years. So they start at the beginning. Okay, so I'm not going to do everything. I'll just kind of show a little bit. So you see they're talking about Hitler, the Second World War, World War II, North Africa, Japan advances. So, I mean, you get like a good idea of what's going on here. The bomb, the atomic bomb, post-war America. Dealing with matters at home. Kennedy, the Civil Rights Bill. Inflation. Okay, so you see, there we go. War in Iraq. So this is like more recent. We got some criminals here. Just kidding. I'm not saying all of them, but probably. I'm kidding. Well, not really, but some of them were. You're gonna be like, oh, if you ain't going, yeah, you might be a little offended at that. I don't know. Oh well. Anyways, okay, here's the activity manual. Okay. So this is their workbook. They do this, they read a couple lessons, just a couple pages, not a couple lessons, a couple pages, and then they have their questions. So it looks like They read 2 pages, they read 10 pages, they read, well, still 10, and then 3 pages. So you can kind of see the type of questions that they ask. So I have a feeling that like most people are not going to watch this entire video. I feel like most people are going to skip around to like the parts that they're most interested in seeing. So I'm giving more than you probably need, or more than most people need. I'm just trying to show you a good amount so you can see if it's for you. But you get the idea of, you know, the type of style it is with, you know, how much work you would expect to see and what the type of questions are. Okay. So, we haven't started this yet. Nora is finishing up some other stuff before this. Okay, so lap book project. Okay, so that's that. Here's their video lesson guide, which you also see on their website. It'll just tell you day 1, video 1, chapter 1, America's First People. The story of America begins. The earliest Americans. Video length is 25 minutes. Materials, reading, timeline, dates, handout. Features of the globe handout, 3-inch foam ball, glue, scissors, text, student text, pages 2 to 6. Activity manual for the student, pages 1 and 3. Assignment, finish activity manual, activity manual, page 1. Watch the orientation portion of the first video with your student. Read the facilitator information at the front of your guide or at the beginning of the DLO course to help you get started. Okay, so there's that. Here's just the answers for the, you know, activity manual. Here's some of the handouts that come with the video manual. Just, you know, they do this on the video together. Okay, so there's that. Nothing too fancy there. And then here's the teacher's guide. These are really nice. Basically, this is like the answers. This is what the student's reader book looks like. And you can also see examples on their website and christianbook.com if you want to kind of see all this and, you know, read it better. So this is where they have the lesson plan for each chapter. So we'll say lesson 12, teacher's edition, page 31 to 33, student text, pages 29 to 31, activity manual 21 to 23. State the ways Christopher Columbus did not understand true Christianity. Explain how the Spanish treated the American Indians. Recognize that Bartolome de las Casas opposed the sinful treatment of the Indians. So you kind of get an idea of like what you're covering. make sure you can see this. Okay, so you see the student's reader book right here. Now, like I had said in another video, if you have English and math, you're going to see the student's English and math workbook here and their answers to their workbook here. But with science and history, you're going to see the student's reader, so you can read along with them together, and then you have a separate workbook and a separate workbook answer key. So this just kind of explains different things here. This is what you would talk about and questions you can ask your student, which I really like this. I think it's totally worth it. I think it's totally worth it. Some people say, do you think it's worth this or that? Like, you could just buy the student's reader book, and that be it, and be done. And you could just read with them, and that's it. And you could buy that used. You don't even have to buy it brand new. But this is pretty awesome. So, you know, for me, I don't mind to spend the big chunk of money up front, and I try to buy as much as I can pertain to this. And then I know for the other children, all I got to do is buy the workbook and we're good to go. Now, that could change. Who knows? I might end up, one of my kids might say, no, I want to do videos. And I might end up buying their new editions on video in a couple of years from now. I have no idea. Just make sure that when you buy something, you make sure that you're aware of what edition you're buying, you know, so that you make sure you know, can get other materials that match it. But I'll see this kind of stuff cheap in those bookstores. So you'll also have a CD-ROM that comes with this. But I really like it. I definitely recommend it. If you can't spend a lot of money, either do master books or find cheaper ways to do this, like I explained earlier. Yeah, not everybody on that page is criminals, just some. The truth is coming out, people. Just wait. The truth is coming out. I know it is. I can't wait. Okay, so anyways, that's that. There's the teacher's toolkit CD. And it has the activity manual answer key. So if you have this, you do parent-led, and you have this with this CD-ROM, you do not have to buy this. Now, this is not even expensive. And I got this half off because I bought the video course and they gave me half off these teacher books. So I didn't even pay that much. But that has the answers, this CD-ROM. So you do not have to buy that book. It's just a convenience thing. The CD also has background information, instructional aids answer key, interactive visuals, quizzes answer key, materials list, and rubrics. Okay. Hope this has been helpful. Hope y'all have a good day. And see you later. Bye-bye.